Galway today, and thank you so much for travelling long and far, near and wide to come and join us today. We're both happy and sad for this final event of what's been a fabulous project with a lovely consortium for our Atlantic area healthy food ecosystem, our AHFES project, which of course we've extended due to the pandemic. We've come through some very challenging times, and we got new partners to discuss sustainability, and they're some of our favourite partners yet. And so it seems like we've only said hello and we're winding up the project. But it is with enormous pleasure that I'd like to welcome you all here today. And we have a very special guest who's come very long way as well to give you an official welcome and to officially launch our final event here today. So without further ado, I would like my enormous pleasure to introduce Professor Paul O'Doherty, who is the Deputy President here of the University of Galway and the Registrar, and Paul is going to give you an official Dignitaries University of Galway welcome to Galway.
Thank you, Jim. We're so not spent the Galway, can influence us to hear over the year. Thinking on Koga, especially to show you. Koga International, the Chair of York and Atlantic. Except I have assessed Shiva and Shaw, or Costa here and here. The Sulan, when he should salt, as Malayan did the movement in our mask. So that's a welcome in our ancient language, which is still here and still very much alive here in the west of Ireland. But on behalf of the University, I'm delighted to welcome you to the city of Galway and the west coast of Ireland.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very sorry I was not able to join you today at AHFES Project Final Event. I remember being with some of you in Santiago de Compostela a few years ago, during your project first meeting. What an incredible journey since then. The world faced one of its most difficult crises, which also impacts on you on project's implementation. As program, we are aware you faced many challenges, but I think you should be proud of what you have achieved, considering the circumstances, going even beyond what was planned and adding extra activities within the third call for projects. I wish you a very successful event and hope to see you with new projects.
Well, I've been asked to make an overview of the project of these almost 4 years of collaboration. Actually 4 years. AHFES stands for quadruple helix Atlantic Area Healthy Food Ecosystem for Growth of SMEs. Very large, complicated title to remember. We usually simplify it and shorten it as an Atlantic ecosystem for growth of SMEs and healthy food. So, this is us. This is us in 2019, and then us today, well, in a more sunnier day than today, but I think that we have evolved too. You can see all formal and listed in the first picture, and then all happy and as an actual team in the last one. So I think this is one of the main achievements we made in this project, beyond the objectives and the KPIs and all the deliverables and all. It was really great to work together with all of you. I think we created a very nice group, very open communication between all of us, and well, we managed to have this partnership with what were all the 5 countries included in the Atlantic area.
Looking at the comments of people who look at this, and one of the reasons why sustainability has become such a key aspect of the food industry, I just thought I would get some sort of commentary on really what people are suggesting needs to happen or what has happened in the area, because again, it's not an area that I'm particularly well versed in. I know it's something that the food industry as a whole is looking at, but I don't pretend to be an expert in any way. So, despite that, it is really looking at the data and how our data needs to change going forward. So, if I can leave from the back there, you haven't just come forward, to informing government that how we need to change the eating habits, the contents that we're putting in food, because we're moving so much too fast, moving pre-prepared foods, that the government needs to take a hand and sort of guiding what happens in this area. Because you can see if you walk around supermarkets these days, you see so much food that's pre-prepared. I mean, and I have 3 young daughters, both got young, in their 20s. Cooking is something they do occasionally, but a lot of it, I would always say, I think I said in these presentations, they assemble food, they don't create it, and they don't work from the basic ingredients. They get the pre-cooked potatoes, the pre-cooked pasta, whatever, and the sauces, and they just mix them together. So you're assembling food, you're not so much cooking it. So they really don't have an understanding of the ingredients that go into it. And this is something we need to convey, and certainly as an industry we need to sharpen up our act, because it'll be very easy for a lot of food companies, for commercial reasons, to use products that possibly extend life, shelf life of the products, but not necessarily are the best thing.
So this presentation is a bit of a mix of different deliverables that we have developed throughout the project. Harry was talking about the policy perspective, the strategies, how they influence the development of new products, and providing recommendations of how companies can improve the development of healthy food products. While here, through these reports, what we try is to provide to companies a bit of information on what is already in the market, how the market is evolving in terms of development of new healthy food products, and of course linking that with the ideas that consumers have about what is healthy or what not, what motivates them to buy one product or another. We have developed several reports throughout the project in this sense. We started by analyzing the key trends in healthy food product development, but then throughout one of the services that we provide to SMEs, we developed, I think it was 7 market and consumer analysis reports in different subsectors. So in this presentation, my idea was to briefly remind you of which were the consumer trends and market trends that we identified, a bit of differences that we have seen in the several AHFES countries we have in the consortium, and then finally try to remind these trends in a more applied way, looking at 2 specific sectors that I personally selected because I like them, which are dairy and soft drinks. And not just because I like them, but dairy because it's a key sector that we have in common in the different countries.
Let's come back to the analysis of the best practices of cooperation observed between the 4 indexes to innovate in healthy food in our regions. First of all, the analysis of these best practices was realized thanks to 2 different actions in the AHFES project. The first one was to identify the current trends and policies led in each region of the AHFES project, and the different types of cooperation used between innovative actors through regional case studies.
So I'm just going to take you through, I suppose, what we're trying to do here in the West of Ireland. The Be Innovative Campus started out as a regional project for the West, and now it's operating at a national level, which we had never intended to do. But it's just, I suppose, the types of practical supports that we offer are not really available in Ireland. There's a huge amount of grant funding, great work been done by all the agencies, but just on the ground for kind of troubleshooting, unsticking businesses, there isn't a huge amount of support there, so we're kind of providing that.
So this panel is a panel discussion on SME perspectives. So our panel members are Elaine, Michael, Noelia, Claudine and Susanna.
Adrian,
oh my apologies.
Don't need the rest of them.
Adrian, oh my apologies, sorry.
They took over by all the distilleries on Lunds Island. So you see the Corrib is a very powerful river in Galway, great for power, great for safety, great for water. Very quickly, the fresh water down to the head of the silk, copper is great, gets pressurised down into the condenser, or the worm as we call it in Ireland. Always goes anti-clockwise to fool the devil, just so you know. And it converts back from...
Same as a reel, the fast ones that she dances, they're slower and they're a bit more hoppity. So there's a bit of a
technical term, is
bit of a lilt to them.
Opposite.
You want to dance?
Oh yeah.
Whatever.
I'm now going to focus on a little bit about the consumer and how they think about the decisions they make. I'm really going to focus on how it is you connect with consumers, and that's typically on an emotional level, by understanding the emotions that the emotional states that they're in when they're considering the products that you're going to provide to them. And then we're going to finish up with bringing that consumer perspective to research, which Una will take you through. So.
And this model, I was trying to bring some of those ideas together for our project and how we can deliver the habitat quality that's sensitive to the local context, but also delivers for the environment and the local communities and the farmers, etc.
So lessons learned, yeah, we had these learning sessions throughout the project where we came together, and the purpose of these sessions was to reinforce knowledge sharing and cooperation between the partners, contribute to ongoing exchange between actors with complementary resources and capabilities, and also support an environment for your learning, knowledge-based innovation and growth, which could be sustained throughout the project and beyond the project lifetime.
Let's start maybe initially with, the discussion around sustainability and what the landscape looks like in Europe. And Perla, I'm going to come to you with that question first.
I think that the current situation for the food companies in Europe is when the consortium partners talk with the companies, we think that the situation is very urgent.
Companies, they feel the pressure and they are aware that they need to be more sustainable. They are aware of some measures they can take it, but they struggle to do it in a structured way, in an organized way, or based on a strategy. They do like a measure here, take other measures, but not in a structured way, and they need help on being to help them to design a strategy, to do the connections, to understand that they are a piece on the value chain and they have to connect with others to be sustainable as a whole, not itself. And they struggle with that. They need help on thinking their strategy and how to do this different
thing. And it helped very much the companies to also think, do an auto-reflection of what they are doing and in where they position themselves in this sustainability.
I think one thing we see on the ground is sustainability is no longer a nice thing to have. It's absolutely essential, and sustainability, as I said, it's very hard to define, but we know like for sure that we need to reduce our carbon emissions, we need to improve our water quality, we need to protect our biodiversity there.
Adios hashtag, and we haven't used it properly yet. So we have University of Galway just have a small little presence for our international partners for starters. So
peat bog here. So peat bog has grown here because we have between 80 and 100 inches of rainfall a year. And the road is winding because it's built on soft moss and peat, which we cut for fuel and burn in our houses. So if you look at the vegetation here, it's very different. So that's peat you're looking at. In Irish you'd say, if we had potatoes and turf, we'd have a life on our backside.
You're all very welcome. And my name is Gerbil, and my husband's name is Charlie, and we're here 27 years. And we were crazy enough, as Charlie's brother, who's a tax consultant, says, 2 teachers with a dream. That's how he summed us up 27 years ago. And I think he was one.
This bog out there is what's called a blanket bog, simply meaning it's a blanket over the landscape. And it's caused, as I said, one of the principal ones, parts of it, and I'll give you out this now, as I say, this isn't stuff you can eat.
Now what's that like a lot?
What I just essentially want you to get to see is the type of little plant that it is. The side one.